hi, Jenna.
Well, hi, Shelby.
Welcome back to another episode of Miss Willa's Book Club.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, today we are doing 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland.
Yeah, this is a good one. Thank you, Red Tower, for these copies, too. We were really excited to read this book.
Yes. Honestly, this was my first 5-star of the year.
Oh, I love to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this was unexpectedly high for me.
Yeah.
For sure. I wanted to read it, but I wasn't sure what to expect out of it. And overall, I enjoyed it way more than I might have otherwise thought. So I was really happy about it.
Me too.
I gave it 4.5 stars. It was my final rating. Yeah.
I love that. I feel like that's just like so on par, and I feel like it's exactly what we needed too. Oh, I just loved it so much.
Yeah, it was a really nice fast read too.
Yeah, I think I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It was so fast, but because it was so fun the whole time.
It was. I really liked the pacing. I've seen some other reviews of people not liking that or feeling like the first couple hundred pages that they didn't feel like enough happened, but I liked the like slowly coming together feel of it.
I did too. I absolutely loved this book. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, do we have anything not spoiler or anything spoiler free?
Yeah, I think we could talk about a little bit of spoiler free stuff, especially if you haven't read this book before and you're thinking about reading it. I think besides the fact that you've probably seen the first edition because the edges are gorgeous.
They are so pretty.
So pretty. And the second book for Ruined Realms, we've already seen mock-ups of that too, and it's also going to be gorgeous.
It is so pretty.
Yeah, so that's really fun. But I think what I was not expecting, I didn't really know anything about this book going into it, and I didn't realize there was going to be so much romance.
Yeah.
There were 3 separate romance subplots in it, and I liked pieces of all of them.
Oh, I did too. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was definitely way more romantic than I expected, which was kind of cool.
And I love that there was an LGBTQ couple.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Always love that rep for sure. And that she said that it's only going to be a trilogy, which I actually appreciate too.
I know. After we've been doing so many deep dives, it's like, it's nice that we can just like blow through a series.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, sometimes a duology or a trilogy is just so nice because it's like, it's not going to get dragged out for so long.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And I think her writing style for me was just so good that like I already just like cannot wait for the next one. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was like fun and fast and easy to read, which I think is really in line with what Red Tower has been trying to put out too. Yeah. Like I think it really matched the energy of that imprint, you know. I think that all of their books have been at a reading level that is like fairly easy words, but maybe adult enough content that it doesn't feel super YA.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I've enjoyed that. Although I will say, if you're thinking about reading this, it is a closed door romance. There is no spice in this book.
Nope. No spice, but definitely some romance.
Yes, definitely romance.
Oh man, I loved it so much.
Yeah.
That was so fun. Awesome.
We can get into spoilers now if you wanted. I just figured I could give people a better idea of what it was about first.
Oh, I know. I love that. I also had no idea what was going into it. And we got a bookmark that said that there is one liar in the group. And it was funny because even though I read that and I tried to read the back of the book this time, I kind of wanted to go in a little bit less blind since it was a little bit different than what I have been reading. About halfway through, I was like, oh, this is nice. I wonder what's going to happen. Pulled up the bookmark I've been using, and I was like, wait, there's a traitor? That's like my favorite trope. Yes,
I know. You were like very sure that in another series we've been reading that there's going to be a traitor.
Yes, I'm very sure. It's probably going to be wrong, but oh well. But so in this one, I was like halfway through, and I'm like, oh, that's so fun. And so then I was trying to figure it out, and getting into some spoilers.
Yep, spoilers. If you haven't read 5 Broken Blades yet, then pause here and come back when you have.
Yes. But getting into some spoilers, did you know who it was?
I mean, I definitely thought she was the sketchiest, but I think that Mai did a really good job of making a lot of other characters seem sketchy too. So even though I thought something weird was going on with her, I don't know that I was sold that it was going to be her, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Yeah. Well, so with that, I mean, should we talk just like about each of the characters first, maybe?
Yes. A little bit. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Royo.
My strong man.
I know.
Oh.
face, shaved head. Yes, just a little strong man, contract killer, whatever.
I know. And he kept saying, I have no feelings, I have no emotions. And I'm like,
he loved Aerie the whole time. And I love it because he just would get so flustered by her. And he's like, well, I need to protect you. You can't run away from me. I'm supposed to protect you.
But I thought this was the deal.
I know. I just thought he was so wholesome in a non-traditionally wholesome way.
I know. He was honestly the definition of morally gray.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, because he's doing not very nice things, but I don't know. He's loyal when even if it's just from a contract. He's loyal to the people he needs to be. What did you think until we found out about his backstory, about the guilt he was clearly carrying? And he's like, well, I killed her. What did you have any idea what you thought that background was going to be? Did you think he had actually done something?
I kind of called it, which is crazy because I never do that. But I was like, oh, he's carrying this guilt from something. It's kind of what hardened him. And so that was one of them where I was just, I kind of got it. I was like, oh, it's got to be something like that.
Yeah. I was pretty sure that it was going to be something that wasn't really his fault. But I was expecting it to be an accident that he was around for and couldn't save or something. I didn't realize it was going to be I left and I wish I hadn't left and she might still be alive if I had been there. Really separation from what you should feel guilty for. It made me so sad for him.
Oh my god, it made me so sad too. And the fact that he hasn't loved really anybody else since, and now he can't trust anybody or anything, that to me was so sad. Something that was so out of his control, and now he's just harboring all this guilt. It was so sad to me.
I know. But then seeing him be all just nervous but willing to act stupid in front of Aerie. So I guess maybe let's talk about Aerie.
Let's talk about our little traitor.
I know. But it's so funny because the whole time she comes off as a little bit ditzy, but not really ditzy. But her personality is well, I like wearing the fancy dresses and I want the nice shoes. And well, that's important. I need to keep that. I got to make sure my hair looks good for everybody.
Yeah. She was like, I cannot leave the ship without all of my dresses.
I know. That was so funny.
Oh my God. And then when they get to the next town and she's like, that's the first thing she does is go get new dresses.
And then makes Royal get fitted for a suit too. And that was when I was just oh, he's putting up with this for her.
So
this is way beyond a contract.
Right.
Oh, so sweet. And she's kind of flirting with Royal the whole time. And Royal's I don't girls, nervous. I don't know.
He just gets so nervous. It was so funny.
Yeah. So she was I thought that was really funny.
When did you start to realize that it was her?
I think she had been a little bit funny, in talking about her dad and maybe being sketchy about that earlier. Yeah. But it was when they jump off the ship and she moves them or stops time or whatever. And he's I don't know how we landed on that ship. That was the moment that I was okay, there's clearly something really weird with her. But I didn't I didn't totally peg that it was going to be that the king was her dad. That was I did not expect that to be it. I thought that maybe there was going to be some other scheming of her dad was some other high up lord and that they wanted to overtake the crown or something, but I really wasn't expecting it to be the actual king's daughter. That was super surprising to me, but that was the moment that I think I got the most sketched out. And then especially followed closely after with I don't even remember which town they were in. Yeah. But they were all in a town and she kind of dips out to go write a letter.
When he gets all upset because he's looking for her.
And he can't find, and nobody can find her.
Nobody can find her.
She's I don't know why everyone's so mad that I left. I just went for a walk.
He has to protect you, man.
Yeah. So what about you? What point did you really start to suspect her as being
I didn't until the very end. The only thing, because I forgot there was supposed to be a traitor.
Oh, okay, yeah. so you just thought she was sketchy?
All lying. Yeah, I just thought she was sketchy. I just thought she had magic, and that was just it was going to be a part of the story, but I didn't know what part it was going to play, because I thought another one of our characters was more sketchy. And so
Tell me.
I thought Mikhail was the skin.
Oh my God, I know. So Mikhail's the spy master who has kind of dipped out from the king he's kind of the mastermind behind collecting all of these people for this plan for the assassination. Right?
Until we find out that it's actually the king that has the mastermind.
Oh my gosh. But yes, Mikhail, he was like really leading the charge through there. 100%. And I was like, I don't really trust this. Like, you already let the other prince go before. Yeah. And you've been with the king and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know. Yeah. That's why I had written him down as one of the people I was the most sketched out by too, because I just didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah. Oh no, that's how I felt too. And so I kind of felt like Mai did such a good job of making Aerie sketchy but lovable.
Yes, exactly. And Mikhail sketchy but not lovable, but not actually bad.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Because towards the end when he who is it that he finally like gives some information to, he's like not really supposed to, but he kind of has to, when they're like right about to execute their plan.
I know exactly.
Like someone kind of finds out what's going on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's them. I was gonna turn them in." You know,
because it was like he was also working with another group, and I don't remember the name of the group, but he was working with another group like outside of the king, and then we find out that he's got these other alliances, and he's like, "I'm bringing them in." Yeah, and he's like, "I'm bringing them in. Don't worry, after this fails, I will bring them in." And so I thought that's when he was going to betray everybody. And it really wasn't until the very end when the crown was taken off and he's like, "Well, hello, daughter." And that I realized that it was Aerie, because Mikhail had talked about these different artifacts that they have that like give them these magical powers, and it was cool because it wasn't like the whole world had powers. Right.
It was very select. So we know the king is known as the God King because he has the crown that basically makes him immortal. Yeah, right? He like can't be killed while this is on, and we know there's a couple other relics out there. He has one other relic too, right? Doesn't he have two?
Aerie has it.
Well, I know that Aerie has one, but I thought that the God King had two for some reason. Maybe
he might have. I know.
But there's a couple more, and there's like, it seemed like there was maybe one that was missing. Oh, his daughter? No, his other daughter. The other queen.
Yes, the other queen. Kingdom. So it was Ewan's sister.
Ewan's sister. That's who it was. Yes.
It was Ewan's sister that has the ring.
The ring. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And I don't remember. Do you remember what the ring does? I don't remember.
No, I don't remember.
But I know that it does something.
Right.
And yes.
It's a piece of the power as a whole.
Because we find out at the end, the ring needs to be removed.
Right.
It's like, it's another one all over again.
I know. But yeah, towards the end when that whole thing was going down with Mikhail, I really thought he was going to betray them, like in the execution of the plan. Yep. I was really sure it was him in that moment, because I didn't really think it was him until we got closer to the end. But
yeah. Well, and then going back to what we were talking about with Aerie, when she moves him off of the ship and he's like, "Oh, I don't know how that happened." That's when I knew that something sketchy was going on with her, but I didn't consider her a traitor. I think I also got sketched out when she was in that town and
dipped out from everybody.
Yep. But I didn't think of her at all other than that.
Oh, yeah. Well, because there's multiple times. So I figured she either could move really fast or stop time, one of the two, right? Because there's like multiple times that she sort of does that.
They're like, how'd you get over there?
No, because there's like multiple times where her behaviors are somewhat contradictive, right? Like she's a great thief and she's super into that, but she's also very like princess high society, but she also is like questioning her own language that she uses, and that what she's saying, she's like, "Oh, well, that's not how I'm supposed to be talking," and stuff. So it was this weird in between of, you could tell she was from some type of high society, but maybe hadn't actually lived there. Yeah. So that was sketchy to me too.
After I found out and I was thinking back on the book, that was one of the things, like the way she would speak and the way she liked the fine dresses and the fine foods, and she liked to like go out and be a part of the people. That's when I was kind of like, oh, see, there were clues leading up to it the whole time.
There were definitely clues, but it wasn't enough that I guessed it. Yeah. Which I liked.
Same. I love a book that'll make you like.
I know, me too. I felt like I really didn't guess at least not exactly. I didn't guess most of the things in this book, which I really liked.
Oh, that makes it so exciting too.
Yeah, I know. It makes it, which is I think part of why I really liked it.
Yeah. Well, because all of the books I feel like that we've been reading more recently have been really predictable for you.
Yeah. I feel like I've read a lot of predictable books recently. I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I loved it so much.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we've talked about Mikhail, let's talk about Ewan.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Ewan is a prince.
I mean, not just a prince.
He's the prince.
He's a prince that was exiled.
Yes. And so Mikhail was actually the one that exiled him. And so we know that a long, long, long time ago, actually, it probably wasn't.
A couple years back.
But the way that he describes it was like his life is like a whole new life. And to me, it was just like such a black and white like shift. And the way that he talked about Mikhail was like he loved him in the past, and he was like, oh, but he's a monster. I want nothing to do with him. That's not how it ends up happening, clearly. But yeah, it was really funny to watch that relationship progress from him being so black and white, like, I want nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah. So they had romantic history from when Ewan was still a prince, but yes, after the exile, he's like pretty pissed about it.
Yeah.
And it was interesting listening to him, like his inner thoughts, just toy with like what to do about it. Cause he's like, well, I still have these feelings now that I see him again, but I don't trust him because Mikhail really keeps his life very private. Like he doesn't share very much with Ewan. And Ewan is like very open with Mikhail, and he's very clear that that's like the only person that he feels that way about. Like not his family. He doesn't have any other friends or anybody that he feels truly gets him or lets him be himself. And so it does make for a really interesting relationship. And I do kind of like the bodyguard, like which is sort of what it felt like, even though he wasn't a bodyguard, but it kind of felt like Mikhail was a bodyguard.
It definitely did. It definitely did.
But the reason that he was exiled, that was wild to me. That really made me start to be like, oh my God.
Like,
because
this is crazy.
Yeah. So when he was still a prince, they had, like a prison with a bunch of people in it, and he would hunt the human prisoners to the death as sport. And he got caught doing that, and that's why he got exiled, is because everybody was like, yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, how fucked is that?
That's so fucked.
In the beginning, I really liked Ewan.
I know. I really liked him in the beginning too, and then his character just went downhill and downhill. His paranoia by like halfway through the book was so crazy to me. Yeah. I like really was questioning whether he even was going to be a good prince at like going back into that. Because maybe he's learned his lesson a little bit. Yeah, maybe he's grown a little bit. But he was so paranoid and weird and chaotic that I didn't trust him, not because I thought he was going to be the traitor, but because I thought he was unstable. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Which to me, I'm like, if you are unstable like that, is that going to make you the traitor in the end? Like, he kept talking about how his sister was queen and he didn't want to be king. But then it was like, oh, this is going to be the position I'm going to be thrown into. Like, here we go. And I was like, oh, this makes me so nervous. I don't want him as king.
I know. Well, and he's even being like, well, guess I'm gonna die now because that crown goes on my head. I'm probably gonna die anyway,
because he's not the actual
child. But even with that, I felt like his paranoia was so over the top, which is I think part of what made me question Mikhail more, because I was like, Mikhail obviously knows you really well, and there's no way that any rational being could have looked at what Ewan was doing and been like, oh yeah, that's what I want on the crown, For sure.
Right. It was like, why do you want this? Why do you... And honestly, towards the end of the book, I was like, okay, maybe he would be a good king. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, in the middle there, I was like, oh, this guy. Especially and he spent how many years in exile too? Like by himself? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we've got Ari, Royo, Mikhail, and Ewan.
Yep.
So now, do you want to talk about Sora?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I loved Sora.
I loved Sora too.
Sora is our poison maiden, which basically means that she was just dosed with small doses of a bunch of different poisons over and over and over again until she's basically immune to all of these poisons. So now she's just a little silent secret assassin that her master, owner, whatever you want to call him, can use to go and like assassinate men that he doesn't want. But the fact that she has to like seduce them first to get there, I'm like, God, this
ew.
So
I know.
sad.
She puts it around her mouth so then she can kiss them and kill them.
Yeah.
So I listened to an interview with Mai Corland.
Yeah.
And she was saying that one of the inspirations for this book was that she wanted to tell the history of poison maidens from where she's from. And I just thought she did such a good job of it. It was so well integrated to the story, and I adored it.
It was really cool. It's like South Korean, like not mythology, but like history, right?
Yeah. Yep. And so she was saying that in the book, she really wanted to put a time and a place with like the food and the culture, and I think she killed it. I think she did so well.
It was really good. It was really so cool. Well. And yes, the poison maiden part of it was probably my favorite backstory too of all of the backstories.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny, we've talked about in other books recently, like siblings or side characters or whatever, and not caring about them. Her sister is in it so much, or so little, and I cared about her so much.
Me too.
So much more than a lot of other side characters, and I thought that was really impressive because she was only on page like a couple times. Like,
you're absolutely
very
right.
little, but Sora's motivations are so foundationally built about trying to save her sister or trying to make sure her sister has a good life, and she cares so much more about her safety and happiness than about like Sora's own happiness. And I just thought that was so well executed.
I mean, she was the whole reason she was even doing this. Like she would have to go months and months and months without seeing her sister because the man who was basically like
owned her.
Siak. He would just like hold it against her, and so if she didn't do, or even if she did do the things he was asking, he'd be like, nope, sorry, you're still not seeing your sister. So
sad after they had both been sold by her parents.
God, that broke my heart. Like to be sold by your parents, and like I don't have kids, but I know a lot of people who do, and I feel like I would never be that kind of a parent. It broke my heart.
It was really sad.
It was really sad. Well, and then I think this part was a little bit confusing to me. So when Sora is going to leave and the sister says into her ear, I think it's time. And she's like, oh shit, and then like a little while later she goes,
it clicks.
Oh wait, no. I was like, that didn't make sense to me. Like that it just like she thought she said one thing and then she just like, oh no, so clearly it was the other thing.
I don't know. I actually could kind of get that because do you think that her sister was trying to say like, oh, it's just time to like for me to be gone?
Oh,
because that's what I thought she was trying to say.
Yes,
and that maybe I think Sora just didn't really want to come to terms with that.
That's what I thought.
And so that's why I felt like it was probably a switch because she's like, oh yeah, she said something I don't know. Like she didn't really want to admit, even if she did know deep down that that's what was going on, because her sister realizes that she's being used as leverage over Sora and that Sora's having to do all these horrific things just to try and help her when she already knows that she's dying.
Right.
So that was rough.
That was so tough. That was so sad. But I feel like then we kind of get a little bit more like sweetness with Tai.
And so Tai is the son of her owner, of Siak.
So weird. It's kind of like we were just talking about in A Fading to Blood.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, except that she never had to have a sexual relationship with Siak because he was too scared that her body was just literally poison at that point. So at least that kind of scared anybody from taking advantage of her because,
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's actually really true.
But yes, that he basically watched her grow up and was like constantly watching her as she was going through the poison school, like hoping that she was going to survive. Hopelessly in love with her the whole time.
He's like, I've been in love with you since you were like 14.
Oh my God. The first chapter that we get from his point of view is it's got to be almost halfway through the book. It's pretty far into the book. Yeah. And I died. Oh my God. He is Ty's such a lovesick puppy, and it's so sweet and cute, and she is just like, yeah, whatever, fuck you. Like,
I know
so disinterested. Like, he really has to kind of earn her trust and grovel a little and be like, no, it's always been you. Like, I'm leaving like home to follow you to try and help you. Well, I thought
that was wild, because up until his chapter when he like they have to go together to the next place. And he was just like, she had no idea.
No, she had no idea.
And then you get to his perspective and you're like, wait.
And he's like, oh, she looks so pretty today. What did she just say? Oh, yeah.
He was such a lovesick puppy. That's such a good way to put it.
But it makes sense why he hid it, because when he says that he thinks his dad would have hurt her to hurt him also.
Clearly he would have, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do really believe that, too. And so I can see why he was so careful to hide any positive feelings he had for her. Yeah. But when he goes back and explains why he whipped her sister, he's like, somebody else would have been worse. Exactly. Like, I was trying to save her as much as I could have. Like, it was already going to happen. And like, this is all I could do to try and protect you.
Yeah. The fact that was the whole reason that Sora hated Ty. Yeah. And then you come to find out that like that was his whole reason for trying to save her. Oh, it's kind of a miscommunication trope, but like done in a really good way. Yeah, kind of. And so it was funny because it's not like they were friends before, but it almost felt like a friends to lovers type trope. Yeah. Just he like a childhood, acquaintances, I guess. But I really liked that. Yeah, I did too. But I thought it was funny because, this book is called 5 Broken Blades. And like even on the bookmarks and stuff, it's all like 5 people. But there are 6 characters and 6 chapter POVs and stuff. Which really threw me off. So I think Ty is probably not supposed to be included in like the blades. I thought it was Aerie.
She's on here though. The thief. She's the thief. So we have from what we got from Red Tower, there's the muscle for hire, rough around the edges. There's no situation he can't fight his way out of ... almost. So that's Royo. The exiled prince, once callous and spoiled, he seeks atonement ... But is he ready to take his place as king? So that was Ewan. The poison maiden, she'll do what it takes to earn back her freedom and her sisters, but beware her deadly kiss. Ooh. So we know that's Sora, the king's spy master, the princess lover, spy, the king's man, but who is he really? That's Mikhail. And the thief, the linchpin holding their plot together, if she can keep them from betraying one another. And so that's definitely Aerie. That's definitely the 5. So that's why I was like, I think that Ty was not included in this grouping because he's kind of more along for the ride than he is a key part of the plan. But I just thought that was kind of funny because
we get his point of view.
Like he is definitely a key character. Yeah. And from the name 5 Broken Blades and the fact that they keep being like, oh, there's 5 people in the plot to kill the king. Right. I was very surprised when there was a 6th character.
I was too, honestly. So was I. When I was pulling out my tabs and I was like, wait, there's 6 POVs. Yeah. I'm like, wait a second.
When I was writing my review on Goodreads, I like had to double check. So I was like, there are 6 people. I was like, there's 3 couples. So there's definitely 6 people.
Yeah. So maybe since Ty isn't, I mean, because the only one that's actually in line for the crown is Ewan, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, or Aerie.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Why did I forget about that? Oh, interesting. Oh, I wonder how that's going to play out.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is kind of an unrelated question, but I'm just curious from like your progress of reading through the book. They're traveling a lot of the time. Are you somebody who goes back and looks at the map and tries to figure out where they are? Or are you just like reading for the vibes and you just know they're on the road?
It depends. Sometimes I'm like, I will go back and look at it. For this one, I didn't really actually.
I didn't either. I was totally there for the vibes. I was like, yeah, me too. At the beginning of every chapter, there was, a city, and I was like, oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
No idea where that is, but
I started in the beginning. I started doing that. I did too. But then, as it all kind of came together, I figured they were all kind of meet in the middle. And so also from that interview a little bit, Mai was saying that she really wanted a book that was going to be like East versus West, and they all had to come together. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
I did too. I really enjoyed having so many chapters in the beginning to understand our characters and their backstories and have smaller clumps of them start to come together before they all came together as a big group. So it wasn't like, I don't know, immediately we're all together and now we're up trying to kill the king. Like,
exactly. You like get to know them and then you get to see them all together.
Right. And they start to form these little sub relationships, you know, right? And I actually really liked having that time of people traveling to do stuff.
What did you think about the traveling in the book? Because I did not realize this was going to be a travel book.
No, like you didn't realize they're going to be moving around?
Yeah, because I feel like that's usually like a second book syndrome.
Oh.
Where they're like,
going
this is our place, and they're like, now is our next adventure. And so I feel like the second book is usually where they like travel around to the next place and they're trying to gather all the troops. Where I feel like now, like since that's the first book, I'm like, do you think the next book is going to take place in one place, or do you think they're also going to travel around?
Well, because I think they're going to travel to where Ewan's sister is. So I think there is going to be a little bit of traveling again. But it was funny because I felt like, oh God, now I'm going to have to look up to remember exactly what it is. But have you heard, you know, like all the words for like teams coming together, teams building, where it's like storm, something, perform, whatever, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so like if you ever do any team development stuff, a lot of times you'll hear this too, that all teams go through sort of these phases. So there's the forming stage, which is the initial stage when team members get to know each other and form the group. So like kind of when they first physically are together.
Yeah.
There's the storming stage, which is the second stage when you start to butt heads a little bit or have some challenges between the team members because they're kind of working out their issues. And then you have norming, which is when the team starts to settle and find a rhythm. So I think that was kind of the moment when they go to save Sora. And it's kind of their first time that they're like, okay, we sort of understand how to play off of each other. Like we're in the norming phase. And then performing is the last phase. And that's like when they actually are going to execute the plan. And they're like, all right, this is what everybody's doing. So that's what I felt like we were going through in this book. Was the phases of team building.
It was played out really well. Yeah. Like it actually does follow that to a T. That's so cool. Oh, I love that. I think honestly one of my favorite parts of the book was them all like slowly coming together throughout the book, and then like halfway through they're finally like all together and now all working like for the same thing. Oh, I loved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so as we get further in the book, though, then we start to dive a little bit more into each of the romances. So did you have a favorite of the three couples?
Gosh, that's such a hard question.
I know.
My favorite of the couples was probably Royo and Ari.
Me too.
Which is why I think it was so tough for me that she was the traitor, because it was like, I liked her so much. Did you have a favorite character?
Ooh, I think I liked Royo best.
I think I liked Ari the best. Yeah. High five.
I mean, I actually really liked them all. There weren't any characters. Well, except for Ewan.
Yeah.
He never really grew on me. And Ewan and Mikhail were probably my least favorite of the couples, too. Just because they felt so toxic.
Yes, it was like they had this toxicity, but they played into it. Yeah. They never tried to get away from it. They were like, oh, this is just how we are. Yeah,
like this is just us. It's fine. Like okay. No. Like I don't know that I'm about that,
but okay, so do you remember the part where they're traveling and that giant bird
comes
and tries to like eat them?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the interview that May had, she was talking about she's terrified of birds, and the reason she was putting that in there is so the rest of the world can be too. I legit laughed out loud when I heard it. I was like, so good job, May.
I know it's not how it was described, but I totally pictured. Have you ever seen like videos of ostriches running? That was kind of like, I know that's not even a little bit how it was pictured, but like they fucking book it, man. Ostriches are so fast.
They do.
Or like emus or whatever, like with the big long legs, and they got the wings going behind, like That's exactly. They look like they're gonna eat you, and that was the first thing in my mind. I'm like, I know that's not how it was described, but that was what I was picturing. Chasing them was like a huge emu.
Yeah. That's actually even funnier than I was picturing. I was picturing like a big raven and like a person's head.
Oh, yeah.
But like with a beak.
Yeah. I don't know. That part definitely got me. I was freaking out at the birds too.
She made you scared of birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I Oh my God. Also, I felt kind of like satisfied when on that same travel scene right before they get to the birds and they run into the little kid and, you know, like the broken down wagon or whatever. And I think it's Mikhail's like, I don't know, like, I think this is a bad idea. And I'm like, yes, listen to him. Idea. Listen to them. That's a bad idea. And Ewan's like, no, we gotta help them.
We gotta go.
Just a kid. We gotta help them. And I was like, this isn't gonna go over well. And so then when people actually attack them, I'm like, I fucking told you.
Yeah, you're like, I knew this was gonna happen. You should have listened.
It's like the classic scary movie moment when you're like, listen to the smart person. Nobody wants to. And they're like, no, I think I'm going to go in the room with the weird noises. I'm like,
and you're like, what are you doing? Like, classic dumb move.
Yeah.
Well, and then the kid, like, he clearly felt so bad after, like, his basically his entire family had, like, died. And then he was like, hey, by the way, yeah, we were betraying you. And they still saved him.
Yeah. Boo.
Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big boo. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, let's talk about maybe Sora and Ty's relationship. We haven't really talked about that yet.
Yeah. Which part about it? What about it? We kind of talked about how...
It was like the friends to lovers, just or childish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I, like, loved the, like, it was always you vibes that we got from him.
I do, too. Like, he never tried to be with anybody else. He always knew that that's what he wanted. It was just kind of funny seeing it from her point of view, too, that she, like, had no idea. And so, to me, it was like, well, like, I loved that we got to see it from his point of view, but I wish we could also see that from her point of view a little bit, too.
What do you mean?
Like, she's like, oh, yeah, I had these hints that, like, you were trying to show me, but, like, he really just did such a good job of, like, putting his feelings and emotions down that I'm like,
oh, you wish that, like, she would have been more aware earlier?
Yes. Yeah. Like, even a little bit, I guess. But she always thought he was hot, so that's cool.
Yeah. Well, and it was cute because even though it wasn't actually slow, like, I feel like the book went fast.
Yes.
It felt like a slow burn romance because of the way that it played out. And I loved at the very end, it's like, risk it for the biscuit.
I know.
He's like, yeah, I might die, but I've got to kiss you. I'm like,
oh, yep. I loved that.
That was really cute, too.
I love that he's like, if I die tomorrow, this is the only thing that I want to do.
I know. Oh, my God. It was so sweet.
Oh, he's so sweet. Yeah. I felt like he kind of got like I don't want to say bad rap because I don't think that it was actually portrayed that way. But in her mind, he had a bad rap for her. Yeah. And so it was so sad seeing the other side and being like, well, he actually wasn't a bad guy. He was so good. And she kind of hates him for no reason. And that's what like really made me emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww. I know.
I love it.
I know. I love it too. So the next one comes out in January, right?
I think so. I think it's not too long from now.
I don't think so either. I know. Honestly, even though we got these gifted for like to us, I feel like I need to go buy the pretty edges.
I know. I wonder if they're still out there, if they're sold out now. I bet we could find them.
I know. I am honestly so shocked. I love this book so much, and I am not seeing it all over social media.
Yeah. Although it's funny, I think I was just looking on Goodreads. Maybe we're a little bit of a minority then because I think it was under 4 stars for like the overall, 3.92 for the Goodreads rating. But there's less than 7,000 ratings.
That is shocking.
I was super surprised. Yeah. But everybody that we're friends with who has read it has all liked it. We haven't had anybody not like it.
I know. We actually convinced a bunch of people at our book club to read it.
I think there's like 5 other girls in our book club who have already bought the book.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah.
Most of them have read it.
I think I need to buy those sprayed edges and go put it on my shelf.
I agree.
Oh, the next ones are so pretty too.
Yeah.
So this one's red and then the next one's yellow.
Yeah. And she said that all 3 sprayed edges are going to make like a photo, like a consistent forage painting or whatever.
That is so cool. Oh, I love it so much.
So do you have any predictions for going into the second book then?
I am so torn on what I even want to predict because I was left so surprised. And it was just like, it was one of those that I just did not see coming. And so they're like at the very end when they're in the dungeons and he's got everybody, you find out that the king is like, hey, yeah, this was all my master plan. Like the person that came to Mikhail, I was the one that hired him. And I got all of this together. He's like, here's my plan. Since I did not see that coming at all, I'm so hesitant to predict.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't
have
know.
no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I know, it's so funny because then with that ending, it felt like this book was just the test run for them.
Yes.
For their actual heist assassination plot, you know? Which was
That's
cool.
exactly how I felt too.
Yeah.
It did feel like a test run.
Because like you don't think that's what's going to happen. And I know I probably should have, I mean, I didn't really think the king was going to die, but I didn't expect it to go down like that at all. So
same.
Yeah,
I thought something was going to interfere, but I did not think that they were going to do everything correctly, and then it was still just not going to work.
Yeah.
That
was
to
wild.
me was wild. Yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that the king orchestrated it all, for me, was just like, well, shit. What else does he have planned? Like, oh my gosh.
I'm like very curious to see if we like the sister that has the ring in the next book, or if she's also bad, or if there's going to be tension between Ewan and the sister because they're like kind of fighting for similar places, or if there's going to be tension between Aerie and Ewan now that he knows that Aerie actually could wear the crown and he might not be able to because he's not of that blood. So I'm like very curious to see what the dynamic is going to be between all of the siblings.
Me too. And all of the different characters. I think the reason why I am also hesitant to make predictions is because we have so many different like intricacies that go into it. And so all these different people, all these points of view, and we thought that they all had one goal, and now it ends up being something else completely. Yep. So I don't know. Do you think the sister's going to be good, or do you think she's going to be bad?
I kind of think she's going to be not as bad as the king is playing her out to be, but I don't know.
Because part of me thinks that she might be worse.
Ooh.
And that's why he's like, get her off the throne.
I could see that too. I could.
But also watch them be so close and friends with her, and she's like, okay, yeah, let's kill the king.
Right. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited.
I love it.
I'll definitely read the next book.
Me too.
When it comes out.
Oh yeah, it'll probably be when it comes out. I will read it like right away, like that day.
Yeah, I agree.
I know. I'm so excited.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Give us a follow on our socials and give us a rating / a like on Spotify. And we'll see you guys next week.